Hello there, my name's Vince from My Mate Vince, and welcome to day 15 of the Amazon Advent Return Challenge. Sit back, relax, get yourself a nice drink, and let's spend a bit of time trying to fix up some items.
Fancy humidifier.
Here we have a dehumidifier. Looks like it's had zero use, no signs of any water or anything. It's even folded up nicely there, wrapped up nicely, and I've plugged it in. As far as I can see, it's working. We have the option to have all different LED lights here. For whatever reason you would want that, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I don't think this has ever had any use. But what I'll do is I will put it in the corner of the room, leave it on for a little while, see if it does get any moisture from the air. But as far as I can see, this looks like it's working just fine. Right, check this out. It's been on for about 5 hours, and if I do this, you can see now there's water at the bottom there. So there you go. Fair bit of water. Well, I don't mean a fair bit. For my house, that's a lot. So this is definitely working.
LED touch control floor lamp.
Here we have a Lestar LED floor lamp. Easy touch control. Let's unpack it and see what's wrong with it. Right, it's got a massive heavy base. I haven't plugged any of that in, but I've got it plugged into the wall here, turned on, and it's completely dead. Remote control as well, a little light lights up, but nothing's happening. Right, first thing I'm going to do is see if we have power here. Right, let's plug this in and see if... I noticed this the other day. I don't even know where I got it from. You can see the amount of dust. I've never used it, but clearly I thought it might be a good idea to show you me plugging things on video. So that should be live. And if I go on here, let's see. I haven't even looked at what we should have. Ooh, 10.2 volts. So I don't think it's an adapter problem, which I'm pleased with. What is it? Ta-da! Isn't it amazing with eyesight? Everybody, once they get to about, and nobody can seem to escape it, everybody, once they get to about 45 to 50, their eyesight will fail. And it's amazing as humans, as we're all so different, but everybody between 45 and 50, no matter how good your eyes were, will fail. And I don't think it's got anything to do with what you eat, or if you go to the gym or not. It's just what happens. But I really miss it. Like grey hair, yeah, vanity-wise, it still keeps me, you know, annoys me, but it still keeps me warm. Eyesight, I'm starting to find annoying, like having to constantly put glasses on. Yet, if I look across the room, everything's blurred. You know, I only need it for about this, you can't see, about a metre away, and or maybe a foot and a half away, and that's it. You know, I know you can get bifocals, but I don't want my eyes to be doing that all the time, looking up and down. Right, this is 10 volts at 1.2 amps, so I think we can say that that's working. So let's get rid of that. I wonder in the future, are we going to be able to do something genetically to stop the slowdown of things like, off your eyesight's fading, you know? Right, input 10 volts, 1.2 amps, that's all correct. Power 12 watts. How on earth am I going to get in here? So I think, because that all looks okay, and the wire goes up through here and through here, these all screw into each other, and we end up in here. So annoyingly, I think I'm going to have to, I've got to make the decision. Am I going to look in here, which is going to be the LEDs, or is it going to be something to do with the control? I'm going to think it's going to be more to do with the control, because I'm wondering whether these should light up or not when you touch them. I wonder, do they illuminate so you can see what you're doing? So I think what I'm going to have to do is peel this off here, and I think the circuit board is going to be underneath here. So unfortunately, I think there is going to be a little bit of damage, but let's try to take it off carefully. Now, I'm not sure if heat is going to help. Let's see how we go without it. I can see screws, I think. So far, so good. So it's not glass. Okay, that's off. 2 screws here, and then hopefully this bit will lift off. Now, are you going to pop out? Well, it does pop off, but it takes a hell of a lot of persuasion, and only by using metal tools. Yes, for those that say I should be using plastic on plastic, I want to see you do something like this with plastic. You are going to break every single plastic tool you have. So metal is the only way. But the problem with metal is you risk causing damage, and often do cause damage. But if you have to get into something, you have to get into something. There we go. That's better. Right, get that under. Hope I don't damage anything now on the board. Oh, I think there's a clip. I think there's a clip here and probably here. There we go. Yeah, so look, clip, 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 and also sticky tape on there as well. Right now, well, we're in, which is good. Oh, look at those tiny wires. They're like speaker wires. Is that going up to the LED? It is. They're like headphone jack wires. They're the tiny enamelled ones. You know what? Maybe they're the things that have failed. Look at that. I wasn't expecting that. That's just like a tiny headphone cable. I mean, good because it's flexible, and these wires would be extremely flexible. So what on earth have we got going on? We've got a ribbon. Oh no, there's another board underneath here. What? It isn't going to be that easy to work on. Well, I suppose first things first, we really do need to check that the cable is okay from the jack connector, wherever that's gone, here, to the contacts here and here. Can't even really see where they are at the moment. There we go. I should be able to pierce through that. So I'm thinking it's going to be centre pin positive. So the outer one I'm thinking should be black. Yes, it's getting there, and you can see it's a nice small amount, so it's like a full short, less than 1 ohm. My meter will often be like 3 ohms, it will still be a full short. Right, I'm on the centre pin now. Okay, so we know it's not that, so we're definitely going to have 10 volts going up to here. So now, what else? Could it be something to do with the ribbon cable? Let's undo this here and see what's heading down underneath here. Seems to be extremely strong here. Big thick bracket. I'm curious what the bottom board is for. Whoa, Vince. Alright, bottom board, reveal yourself. What are you going? Oh, we need this strength here because it's taking its strength from the metal poles going right the way up to the flexible bit. Yeah? So that's why we need this strength here to transfer it from the pole at the bottom here, because this is just plastic. So there'd be no strength here. It'd be a likely snap point because the metal poles are not going to snap. This isn't going to snap because that's metal as well. And if you were trying to bend it from here, there's a chance you just snap the plastic or bend the board. I'm not going to be able to take this off because these are soldered onto the board, so I think I'm going to have to disconnect them. Oh no, sorry, I won't, will I? What is this down here? Is it a touch? Is it what's the thing at the front here? On? Don't know what that means. Memory and brightness. Let me see what M means. Let me get the instructions. Look, there's a little board down here. So it looks like you touch the bottom, the back of it here, I think. That's an aerial, isn't it? Oh, is that what's picking up your finger through here? Little crystal. This is very complicated. I think I'm going to get the instructions just to see what's going on. Oh look, it looks like we might have a light for the on-off, but then we haven't got any lights for anything else. Let me just see if that's a little LED. So I'm going to get this on diode test, and it should give enough power just to light up the LED. Yay. There you go. Right, I think we're going to have to, because we don't really know what's happening there. Let me get the instructions. I'm just curious about how the thing operates. And then maybe we can start fault finding here, to see if after the 12 volts, what happens, where does it go to? Is it slightly harder with all this white gunk everywhere? Just trying to see if there's a little fuse. I wonder, has the voltage regulator given up the ghost? Maybe that brings it down to 5 volts or 3 volts. Can we see what it says on it? 7536. Might be a voltage regulator. Just checking for some loose pins. I wonder if there's anything on the other side of the board. Some transistors maybe to turn on and off the lights. I cannot see anything obvious. Capacitor on off. Right now I'm going to say the voltage regulator is faulty. So let's not worry about the instructions just yet. I'm going to plug this in and we'll measure the voltage regulator. Whilst editing, I've just noticed that there looks to be a black lump of plastic kind of melted onto the board where the arrow's pointing now. Just bear this in mind for later on in the video. And we'll measure the voltage regulator and we'll see if that's getting anything. So hopefully now nothing's going to short. That's there. I'm worried about this metal here. I know it's painted, but still. Right, that's there. There we go. Plugging it in. So I presume we should have something now when we hit the on button. We don't have anything. Alright, so we'll just check that we got 10 volts here, which we have. So I'm going to leave my black lead on the negative. Let's go on to the voltage. Well, I'll tell you what, let's go on to the positive of this cap. What do we have? 10 volts. Let's go on to the voltage regulator. We've got 10 volts there. So the middle pin is 10 volts. The left hand pin is nothing. The right hand pin, 0.2. That doesn't seem right, does it? That doesn't seem right, so I think we need to zoom in and see. Well, we don't need to check the rest of the circuit, like this inductor and stuff, because we've got 10 volts on the middle pin of the voltage regulator. But as far as I can see, we've got nothing on the left-hand side, and the right-hand side is 0.2 volts, so maybe something's bringing it down. Oh, you beauty. Right, unplug that. That nearly burnt my finger. I think my mate Vince has lucked out with you-know-what, a shorted capacitor. So let me get my FLIR cam on the go. I think the reason we've only got 0.2 of a volt on the output here. So I think remember I'm unplugged now. I think the left-hand pin there, the top pin there, is ground. So if I go here, yes. So we've got ground there. We've got the input on, we've got the input coming through to here. So I presume it's going through here, or through here somewhere. There we go. That's the input. And the output is shorted. That goes to there. Yeah? Put this in there. So if we go on that black one, I've given it away now. I should have done it on the FLIR cam. But if we go on the black one here, shorted here and shorted here. And we know that it looks like that one goes to there. So I think that cap has shorted itself. But we will let the FLIR cam do the job. So we're going to be looking, you can see the big cap. You can see the big cap. Where's my finger? You can see the big cap here, yeah? So we're going to be looking, voltage regulator there. And then underneath that, we're going to be seeing, so you can see the ribbon cable coming up. We should be seeing something glowing around about here. So keep your eyes on this thing here. Right, let's plug it in. Here we go. Watch it glow. Oh, don't calibrate. Do you know what? The offset on this is out. But if I get this here, oh, the offset's really out. 1 second, let me unplug. Let me mess around with the offset a second. Now look, the heat is still different from where my actual outline of the fingers are. The cameras are not lining up properly. I forget how to do the offset. Yeah, unfortunately, I thought I could get it better than that. But can you see the heat from my finger is different where the camera overlay is, because you see there's a distance here between them. So one's a digital camera and one's a thermal camera. So I suppose the idea is, look, you see it looks great from there. So I'm going to have to hold it further up. Right, okay, that's not a problem. Right, plug it in now. Then go to here. Because you can't then see what I'm doing. But if you actually look at where I'm pointing, so when I touch this capacitor, you can see that that is where the heat spot is. Well, the heat is more here on the actual, I can't tell which capacitor shorted, that one or this one. It's a bit disappointing there. This seemed to work better before. The other thing we can do, because not everybody has a thermal cam, is we can use IPA. So should we just get a little bit of IPA? And that might prove what the... I know I'm going overboard here. It's just I don't often get caps shorted like that. So I get overly excited when I do. Find one. Right, a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, 99.9%. And we're going to flood the area with it, and we're going to see what melts off first. So let's zoom right in. Also, I thought it looked a bit burnt here. Can you see this is leftover? And that was here. So I think it's this cap that burnt the glue. Right, so watch this. We're going to concentrate on this cap and this one. Let's see which one is going to burn off first. Ready? Plugging in now. Wow. Where did that... Oh, hold on. Where did that... I've unplugged. Where did that burn out from first? Ready? No, it is the voltage regulator. Watch. Sizzle is the middle of the voltage regulator. In fact, is it cracked? Is that a crack just here? Ooh. I don't know now. I can't say with any certainty if... Or is it up here? Where's it coming from? Just seems to be everywhere. Unless, of course, it's on the other side of the board. I keep plugging and unplugging. To me, that's the middle of the voltage regulator. Interesting. Right, I think we're going to have to start unplugging and soldering some stuff. So I think I'm going to use low melt solder here because I don't want to apply heat. I don't want to take the board out because I've got a feeling I'm going to break the wires down here, or it just seems a little bit hard to... These don't bend very well. Obviously they went in. If I had to, I could take them out. I just don't want to snap anything. So I'm going to use some low melt solder, and I think I am going to... Let's just see. So we have a short. Do we have it here? So no short there, but yet we do have a short here. So we have a short here, and we have a short here. So purely because of the burn-in, I think I'm going to take this one off first of all. And the fact it was covered with glue. So I'm going to do this cap see if the short goes away. This cap, see if the short goes away, and then I'll try to take this off. I know the heat looked like it was coming from the voltage regulator. I'm just still wondering if the capacitor's so close to it that it's just causing a short on there. And I think it's more likely that there's a capacitor shorted. I'm going to use some flux because the low melt solder doesn't have any. I've got to stay away from that little ribbon cable. Very little room to work. I think I got some on there. No, maybe not. Now I got some on there. I need to get some of that over there. Come on, get over. It doesn't want to travel, does it? To go everywhere it shouldn't go. No room to work. I thought it'd be off by now. Come on. This isn't wave soldered, is it? No, I can't see any red glue. I can't believe this isn't off. There we go. Right, let me try to take that out. Right, let's see if we have a short. Those pads are not shorted, I don't think. I think that pad's on the negative anyway. Let's see if the short's still there. No. Oh, yes it is. Yeah, it's still there. Right, let's try this one next. And probably just use the same low melt solder that's there. There we go. And you are off. Now let's just get that off a second. There. I'll save that for the next one. Little goes a long way. Now let's see if the short's gone. If not, it's going to be the voltage regulator, which is what the IPA suggested. It's the voltage regulator. How interesting. Often it's the capacitors. Right, let's try to get the voltage regulator off. I may have to resort to heat on this one. Because there's a massive pad underneath. Oh my words, there you go, the miracle of low melt solder. Right, let's clean up all those pads. Did you see that? I can't believe that came off so easy. Probably find out now my head was in the way. Just going to let this drink it all up. Oh no, I hope I didn't burn that ribbon cable. Hold on. Did I go through? Don't think so. Definitely touched it though, didn't I? Think I'm okay. Yeah, that's fine. There we go. Right, let's give that a clean up, and then we're going to have a close look at the voltage regulator to see what it is. Hopefully it's a 5V one. Hopefully I've got one. I'm just going to use IPA again. The reason that's so hard there is you need to remember, if I zoom out, that I'm trying to get my soldering iron in, but there's lots of obstacles in the way. I've got a capacitor in the way, I've got this in the way, I've got the ribbon cable in the way, and I'm trying to get down in here, and you can see how small everything is. So it's not easy. It'd be easier if this was out and the board was out, but then I'd be worried about breaking something else. Anyway, I think I got away with that okay. Before I lose these, I'm just going to clean these up and get these back in place. Sorry, when I say these, I mean the capacitors. Just getting rid of the low melt. I think I cut part of the video. The reason I'm not taking out the ribbon cable is because this tiny little connector has that silicon stuff deep inside it, and I'm worried that if I lift it up, I might end up breaking the lid off the connector. So I'm trying to work with the ribbon cable in place, because I don't believe that the ribbon cable part is faulty. So yeah, ideally you'd have the board out, and then you'd be working on the board, you'd have more room. But I'm struggling to get the board out because it's encased in rock hard plastic. I'm struggling to get the ribbon cable out because it's got silicone all over it. And laziness is making me not unsolder the main wires going into it. But because I'm dodging everything else, I'm not too bothered about 2 more wires, having to dodge them on top of everything else. Right, now to get these in, I'm just going to put solder on one of the pads. And we're going to use normal leaded solder. The reason I'm doing one of the pads, it means I can put them on with the soldering iron and hopefully they'll lie flat. So let's use a little bit of flux and let's zoom right in. So I think I'll be most comfortable putting on this side first. So I'm going to put a little dot there and a little dot here. And if I hold it here, I haven't got a good grip of it, 1 second, because everything's in the way again. There we go. So now if I heat this up here, then I should be able to get that on there. And it should lie flat. Now if I get the bigger one and put that on here, that should lie flat. There we go. Now I can put solder on the other side. And make them nice and blobby. There we go. Right, let's clean that up and then we'll check for shorts. Make sure there's no short there now. Right, so multimeter on continuity. Got that one go into here and also here, and then what?
Ha ha!
Oh my word, that's shorted as well. No way. No way. What? Sorry, what on earth's going on? I should have measured them out of circuit. What? Oh no, I've got to go through all that process again now. Why didn't I measure them out of circuit? So we have a faulty voltage regulator. Let's just zoom out. We've got 2 shorts now. Right, voltage regulator. Let's just see if that is shorted. Seriously, what's going on? Voltage regulator is not shorted, but it was shorted. I'm not dreaming, am I? What? Okay, I mean, this is good news if that's not shorted. I'm super confused. Right, let's take these off again. How bizarre. I mean, it is more likely for a capacitor to be shorted. Right, let's take that off. Let's measure one at a time. Now, do I have a short on the cap that's on here? Yes, still got a short on the cap. Do I have a short on the cap on the bench here? No. So there's definitely no short on the cap on the bench. Actually, do we have a short on the board? I don't believe it, we got a short on the board. Oh no, we got a short on the board. Oh, I just assumed it was this, I didn't check. We still got a short on the board, so this little cap is good. So those two caps were okay. I just assumed, but that's where the heat was coming from. Maybe it is something, maybe I do need to take this out. Maybe there's something on the other side that was heating up in this area. Yeah, no short on that cap. Ah, okay. Right, well there you go, I shouldn't assume anything. So what we have to do is, I think we're going to have to take this board out. See, the shorted pad does run down here. I'm just going by the heat spot. But if we have a look here, this is the shorted pad. It goes down here. It looks like it goes under the ribbon cable along to here. So let's see if it goes to here. Yes, I'm on here. So it goes to here. Then it continues down. And it goes to these caps here. It goes to this, but it's not touching that, I don't think. It goes to here and here into here. It could be the chip. So these are also short, you see. But the heat spot, although I didn't put anything down here, the heat spot was definitely coming from up here. I mean, it was burning hot up here, wasn't it? So I think we need to look on the other side of the board. And hopefully there might be a capacitor on the other side of the board. I hope I don't break this now. If I can just get under here, I'd have a chance of lifting it. Right. Yes. Oh, this is stuck as well. You know what, let me take some pictures, because if these wires break I won't have a, it would take ages working out what's what. Yes. What's going on? It's all burnt here. So these are the touch things. Oh, and they just travel down these little things here through resistors into the chip again. So that's mode, auto, and on off. I'm really confused. Why was the heat coming from here? That would suggest that's the shorted component, and you can see it's all burnt here. I hope it's not a fault in the board. It's really strange. This is some footage of the FLIR cam from the beginning of the video when I first of all put the FLIR cam on it, and you can see there is no heat by this bigger chip and the two capacitors that this faulty trace goes to, where the shorted trace goes to. The heat was all up the top of the board where the voltage regulator and the two capacitors were. On the opposite side of the board, there's nothing. I was expecting to see a capacitor, and I thought, ah, this is the heat that we're seeing. We've just seen it from the other side of the board, but there's nothing on the other side of the board. But you can see that the board has heat damage. Really strange, because normally up until now, when I use a FLIR cam or IPA, it will be the component itself that's faulty that will do the heating up. But in this instance, the voltage regulator and what looked like the two capacitors were heating up, especially the voltage regulator with the IPA, and yet they're testing perfect out of circuit as far as shorts are concerned. All very odd. The thing is, we haven't got a million components to go through now, have we? Because we've taken off that one there. We know that this is the short here. And we've taken off everything here and the short's still here. So the only things we have left now is this little diode, and I'm pretty sure that's working because it comes on. It goes down here, goes through this chip here, but it doesn't look like it's actually connected to that. And then we have two more capacitors, and the chip itself. So we only actually have 3 more things to undo as far as I can see on that. I'm taking this out. Don't worry about that later. I'm worried now. I think it's something up here on the board, because why was it getting super hot? But maybe that's just the, you know, maybe that is just the fault going back into the voltage regulator. So I think we're going to have to, might not be fixable, it might be this chip here. And joy of joys, there's no markings on that chip whatsoever. So clearly it's some LED driver of some description. Right, let's go back to the low melt, and we'll take off that capacitor first, C7, and then we'll do C6 afterwards. But the fault's going to be into the chip. Multimeter. Has the short gone? Oh, it hasn't. It hasn't gone. Okay, I'm going to take off this one only because I have to, but I know it's not. The heat was from up here, so I know it's not this, but I have to prove what it is. Short, have you gone? Oh my word, it was the last cap. It was C6. What? And the heat was up here. That completely threw me. I've been doing this a while now, and that's just, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? Because the short is here and it's making the voltage regulator work overtime, but I would have thought that the capacitor would have been the thing heating up more, not this. But on the thermal cam, as far as I could see, all the heat was from here. Unless I convinced myself, because I put my finger here and felt it very hot. So this is the capacitor here. Before we test the capacitor, do you know what I'm now thinking while I'm editing back? Normally I put voltage injection in, and that shows the faulty component. But in this instance, I was powering it normally via the actual adapter. So I suppose there was a lot of draw through that voltage regulator, hence the reason it was getting hot. Maybe the power wasn't fully getting to the capacitor because the voltage regulator seen so much drain that it was working overtime. While with my bench power supply, I wouldn't be putting the thermal cam on the bench power supply to see it getting warm. So I suppose it would be just a component that's faulty, that's getting hot. I think that's what's confused me so much here. Normally when I look for a shorted capacitor, I would use voltage injection. And I didn't use voltage injection here. I used the circuit like it would normally work. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's why the voltage regulator was heating up, and that's thrown my fault finding. This is the capacitor here that I think is the faulty one. So let's go on it and see if it is measuring a short. Hallelujah. Brilliant. Well, to me it doesn't look any worse than any other cap. I can't see it cracked anywhere. You know what I mean? That looks clean enough, doesn't it? It's hard to tell because I've got so much flux and everything on it, but it doesn't look cracked, but it's clearly faulty. What that is supposed to be, I have zero idea. So what we'll do is, let's put the original components back on, and I can't look up what this chip is to find out what capacitor should be there. So maybe I'll just go with the old favourite and put 100 nanofarad on, but I have zero idea if that is correct or not. The only reason I do it, and I always say this, is because I do it and nobody really tells me off about it in the comments section. It's just some people say it might have been a 10 microfarad, but nobody's really going to know unless they've got another one of these items, or unless they know what the chip is and they can read the schematics off the chip to see what it should be fed by. What I might do is I might measure the other capacitor, because I think sometimes people say that if it's like a 10 nanofarad and the other one might be 100, or if it's 100 then the other one might be 10. Right, let's try to measure that without it pinging off. I'm going to put a bit of blue tack on that. Right, here we go. Right, 100 nanofarad. So now, let's have a look at the board and see if they're in parallel. Yes. You know what? I'm going to put a 10 nanofarad on, because I'm sure I've read that in the comment section below, but I could be completely wrong. Right, let me clean off these and get everything back on. So I've got to replace all the components now apart from the 40 capacitor, and I get a 10 nanofarad capacitor out of my kit that I got from China years and years ago from eBay, and that'll be it. We can put it all back together and test it. There you go, 9 nanofarad. That'll do me. So I'm just going to show you it now once once all the components are back on, to show you there's no short. Then we need to reassemble. Right, okay, so now everything's back on, meter on continuity, and you can see now if we go across the caps here, there's no shorts. So hopefully the voltage regulator is still working. Yippee, at long last we have no more shorts. So the next time you're going to see this is when it's back together, and I'm going to set it up fully in the other room, and hopefully we can test out all the features and make sure they're all working.
Showtime.
Ta-da! It's not fully working though, which is annoying. So it does loads of different things. Like it obviously looks better when it's completely dark in the room, but that would be like a night light. You hit this one here for full brightness, and then you can do different color temperatures. So you can see it changing there. Personally, I like that one there. But there's something not right. So clearly that little area at the back, of course, is for the remote control. And although there's a little light that lights up here, I don't think it's related to, I think it must be some sort of Bluetooth. Because look, I'm not facing that. Even if I put it behind my back now, you can see it's still working. Yeah. So this is the problem with it. Let me turn on the main light so you can see. Right, to begin with, this cannot be right. Look at the horrible bend that's on that. So it's nice and straight, and then boom, it falls over. So there's something wrong down here. As well as that, annoyingly, look, this works, yeah, mode works, so this is changing the color here when I tap that, but brightness doesn't do anything. There should be 5 different stages of brightness. So if I was to get the remote control, brightness works on here. So if you have a look here, when I go through, can you see all the different stages? But the button's not working, so I've got to take it apart again. Now let me get back into this and let's see, is it an actual fault or did I do it? So if you are a betting man or woman, I would say that there's a very high chance that it is me that's caused this and it's not a natural fault. In fact, looking at the bookies online, the major ones have me down for 50-1 of causing this. So let's take it apart and see, is it a My Mate Vince issue or is it a natural fault? Okay, now. Oh, look at that. Oh, obvious. My fault. So, Plonker. This has to go... Ah, I had it like this, and it was allowing it to wobble. Yeah? It has to go right the way in. So if I put this on here now, screw it down, with that in there. Oh yeah, look, it locks there. Oh, that's much better. How did I not notice that before? Look, you see it's locked up here. Brilliant. One down, one more fault to go. Now, I'm going to have to take the board out from the plastic because I want to see the touch bit. I'm wondering if where you touch, I'm wondering if the wire's gone and it's not going through to the other side of the board. So let me just pop out the circuit board and let's see if we can work out why touch is not working. Luckily, mode is working, so maybe we can compare the two. It's just brightness which is not working. Let's zoom right the way in and see if we can work out what's happening. It's certainly an interesting little one, isn't it? So we have got to be so careful of these wires here. So we have the pad here. This is the one that's not working. There's nothing around here, there's just that. So I suppose I have to find out, is that pad going through the wire onto here? It goes to here, it goes, here we go. What's that there? Do you know what this is? This is me taking it apart, I bet. I bet you that's completely broken there. So we want to see if it's going to this resistor here. Zoom out a bit. Visual inspection is always the way. Let's go to continuity. So when I was taking it apart, I was prying in there with my metal tut-tut tools, and yeah, I damaged it there. The thing is though, it's extremely hard to take out. Right, let's see now. Hopefully this is not getting to the resistor, and then we found what our problem is. So I'm on here. Beauty, not getting to the resistor. And if I was to go onto here, that's going to be going to, I presume, this resistor. I can't really see from here. But if I go to here, let's see if that's going to that resistor. Yeah, there you go. But yeah, this one is not going through here. So it's going to here, but not there. Excellent, we just have to do a tiny little repair. Ooh, fantastic. 2 out of 2 caused by moi. Thank you very much. Right, I'm going to get the grinding pen and I'm just going to grind back this a tiny little bit. And then we've got to put a little bit of wire just to bridge that. Now, although I am taking ownership for this second fault, yes, I caused it because I removed the board from the plastic. But remember I showed you that big lump of plastic that was melted onto the board originally? That's exactly where this trace is broken. So I'm wondering if somehow, I don't know how, the plastic melted a little bit onto this board here, and then when I pulled the board out, it just lifted the trace off. Could be just pure coincidence. It's just a bit weird how the plastic that I showed you at the beginning of the video, if you remember, was over this area here. And I'm pretty sure it was bang on these numbers where the damage is. So I think it's related to that. But I'm more than happy to take ownership of it because I'm going to get the blame for the other fault anyway. So I might as well get the blame for 2 faults, and it saves blaming things on manufacturing defects. Do you know, I think I joined it. I think I joined it anyway. I'm just going to tin up this little bit of wire now. I've got some old stranded electrical cable. And I'm just using one of the, let me zoom out. Here we go. I'm just going to use one of these. I think the solder's already done it anyway. Right, so that's nicely tinned. So now all I've got to do is put that on there and just bridge that just in case the solder fails. I'm going to go here. Look at a mess of that. Hold on. Here we go. My. Made it look like I could solder. So now I cut the wire back. I put a tiny bit of nail varnish on because I can't be bothered to wait for the UV mask to dry. It's all covered in solder anyway, so it's not going to oxidize because there's loads of solder bits on the board. It's just I don't want to leave exposed copper. So I just put a little bit of nail varnish on just because I'm filming. And that is it. Put it all back together. Let's go back to Showtime 2 and let's see now if all the features are working. Surely yes.
The second Showtime.
Ta-da! Here we go. So, off, on, sleep mode, which is just putting it on the lowest setting on the warmest colour. Middle one makes it brightest, and then we can do the brightness down, different levels. Yeah, and the colour temperature. And then all these other ones like game mode and stuff like that, laptop mode, coffee mode, is just changing different colours. The nicest one for me is the warm light there. And then we have a timer, which I haven't actually tried, but apparently that leaves it on for 1 hour. So that's the remote control all working. And if we come over here, You can see middle one, on, off, on I should say. And then we have the different mode ones here for the different colour temperature. I'm not sure if that's coming up in the camera or not. And the bottom one is the brightness. There we go. So that's my favourite one there. Now, what do I think of it? Well, it's £40 on Amazon at the moment, down from, it reckons, £60. I would have thought this would have been more like a 20-something pound device. It's, I think it's a great product to sell. What I mean by that is, look at the tiny box it comes in. So you get all this massive lamp in that box. That's been really well thought out, because if you were a reseller like Amazon, or even a person selling on eBay, I would get, in a box so big, I would get how many of them in there? 20 or 30 of them? And I think that's really well designed, because you're getting it shipped from China, so the smaller packaging is going to be less to ship. And also in the UK, when you're shipping it to different people, it's going to be so much easier dealing with that, rather than having to deal with a lamp that comes in 2 parts and is absolutely massive. So I think it's ideal for online selling. I think that's really good. Looks-wise, it's not really my cup of tea. I don't think it's overly stylish, but it's little attentions to detail like this. Look at the bottom, look where the wire comes out. The wire shouldn't even be coming out from there. It should be into the base. It should have been designed where the wire went through the lamp, down, you screw it through the base, and then there should have been a channel on the base to put the wire through. Then you could use the adapter. I like the fact that you can use an adapter, because it means if it fails, you can change it. It's not mains going up into it. But that little barrel jack should have been built into the base there. But yeah, I can see why people get it. If you were a student, for example, in halls of residence, you could have this. You don't have to have a bedside lamp. You could have this anywhere in your room, and you can control it from here. And the very fact you don't have to be pointing at it makes it really good. So I can point it here, and you can see it's working. So yeah, it's a very popular item. 1,700 reviews, 400 items sold in the last month. Absolutely crazy. So it's amazing how much of these things sell. It shows you how much profit Amazon makes. Right, what I love is all of that. Look at the size of that. All of that went 40. Forget about what I did by not putting it together properly and breaking that little trace. Look at the size of that capacitor there. I've just dropped it, and I won't even be able to find it now, because I've got more tiny crumbs on my floor that are bigger than the size of the capacitor. Honestly, I'm never going to find that now. That's how small it is. So what I love is when one tiny component makes that whole thing fail. So if you look at the size difference, you would fit more than 1 million of those capacitors in something that big there. And just one of them caused it to fail. I love things like that.
Summary.
So the humidifier is $35.99, but it's not a current product. It took me ages to find that price there. I used Google Lens and then kept going to old Amazon reviews, and somebody said they paid $35.99 for it. So I'm putting that down as £18, which is 50% off the retail price, because as far as I can see, it's brand new and it does appear to be working perfectly. Now, when it comes to the LED light, even though I spent all video on that one, I can only do friends and family 25% off retail, because I've put a capacitor in that I don't know the capacitance. So I just went with 10 nanofarad, but I don't know what it should be. I know it won't make much difference, but as well as that, I've peeled the thing off. The little touch panel there is going to have a few little nicks on the side. It's no longer a new product, so I'll put it down as £10, but I think it's worth every penny of £10. So not a great total today, but still a total. Let's see what day 16 brings.